8 years of free room and board is long enough. That is the feeling of an upstate New York couple who's been trying to kick their 30-year-old son, Michael Rotondo, out of their house. As incentive, they gave him money to get started. They even sent him several letters to vacate, but the son says he was not given enough notice. Michael has a young son himself who he lost custody of within the last year. And now these parents have actually gone to the courts. And the verdict is that the judge evicted him. And I had a chance to speak with Michael moments ago. Here's our conversation. Michael, welcome.
Hi.
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 Hi. So let me start with you're 30.
Right.
The simplest question: do you not want to find your own place?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to live there anymore.
You don't want to live with your parents?
I don't like living with. No. It's not. It's very tense. It's very awkward. It's. We have to. We have to share space, which may be the case with where I would find myself afterwards. But I'd prefer to get out.
Okay, so on the preferring to get out, let's rewind for a second, because it's my understanding you've lived, at your parents' house, rent-free for 8 years, and I know you do your own laundry, you buy your own food, but they asked you 5 times, please move out. Why couldn't you guys resolve this without the court?
I would consider much of what they were doing to try to get me out as a tax, and what I was trying to preserve. Trying to do what's best for me, which is just let's try to be a little more reasonable. I'll leave. I don't like living here, but I need reasonable time. And as an example of this, the first notice that I received, the February 2nd notice, was basically, you have 14 days before you're outside in the winter weather. So the first thing I did when I got that was I made sure that wasn't going to happen. I contacted the police department. I said, is this something that this could happen? And they're like, no, you just call us. That they can't do that. And I said, all right. And I was like, all right. And
I'm listening to you. I really am. But let me just understand, because I hear you on your parents giving you notices. The fact that you were on national television talking about moving out of your parents' house. You tell me you want to move out of your parents' house. Why don't you just move out of your parents' house, like tomorrow?
I don't have the means to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
do you have a job?
No.
Are you trying to get a job? Because I read that one of the things your parents asked of you, there are jobs available even for those with a poor work history like you. Get one, you have to work. Are you working on that?
I have plans to be able to provide myself with the income I need to support myself, but it's not something that's going to come together tomorrow. So I'm trying to do what's best for me, and I do want to leave, and I want to leave as soon as possible. But it's not tomorrow. I don't think it should have to be tomorrow, and.
But you want it to be tomorrow. It just isn't tomorrow because you don't have the means yet to make it tomorrow. Here's the next thing.
Right.
I mean, do you? A lot of us have lived with our parents maybe a little bit longer than we wish we could. Please. Take a sip of your water. Do you not want privacy, Michael? I mean, do you not want relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, friendships, space, not shared walls with mom and dad?
I do want those things.
Yeah. So your parents took you to court, though, to force you out of their home, and you sat there and you represented yourself, and you argued that you should have more time. I know that you wanted the 6 months, and I've heard you say, ironically, by the time maybe you'll leave, it will be that 6 months. The court didn't side in your favor. Will you fight the court? Will you fight your parents on this?
I'm going to send a letter that I've already prepared to my parents' attorney that says, if you send an order to the court, it's a proposed order, that is for 3 months. There's a possibility the court won't accept that, although I don't think that makes any sense. I'm not a lawyer, I don't really know, but I guess the court can just can deny any proposed order that they like, but I would say that to the attorney. I'm saying to the attorney, if you put this proposed order for 3 months in, or a proposed order for 3 months in, I won't fight anymore for the case. And
Okay.
the ironic thing is that if they had sent me the 6-month notice to quit in February, it would have cost them $0 in legal expenses.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Legal expenses aside and time spent in court, I'm sure you're irked. I'm sure your parents are irked. But you only have one mom and dad, and I understand
Right.
that you are probably more upset than even you're letting on. But don't you want to reconcile with them?
No. No, I don't.
No.
I mean, are you aware of the component regarding my son and about how I
am.
lost my visitation? Yeah. So right after that, they're like, well, we want you to start doing. Don't worry about your case, that's a full-time job doing setting up an appeal for an order like that for custody and visitation. What you need to do right now is get a full-time job and get health insurance, or we're going to throw you out. And it was devastating to lose my son, and I was just it really.
It's okay.
I was done with them. I was done with them after that. I was done with them after that point.
My heart goes out to you on the custody issue.
Sure.
But the last piece of this, though, Michael, and this is really my last question. There are a lot of people who have read about your story, and the thought bubble is, what is up with this millennial generation that you guys seem so entitled? What would you say to those critics?
I would say that I'm really not a member of that demographic that they're speaking to, of that group. I'm a very conservative person. The millennials that they're speaking to are very liberal in their ideology.
But you're 30, so technically I think you are part of the millennial generation. I don't think there's a delineation between...
You're right. But when people speak to the millennials and their general nature as a millennial, they speak to more liberal leanings, in my opinion. Do you disagree?
I don't think it's for me to disagree. I think a millennial is a millennial is a millennial based upon the year that you were born.
Okay.
But I think it's totally your opinion to say, that doesn't apply to me. And with that, Michael Rotundo, I appreciate you coming on. I truly wish you the best of luck. And
I am a millennial.
Yes, Michael.
Right.
Thanks.
Welcome.
So that was one of the more surreal interviews we've taken part of here in the last little while, but I genuinely wish him and his parents luck. Let's move on.